ZMAX Cars Tour has announced their entry list for the upcoming race at New River All American Speedway this upcoming Saturday. That is in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. You can see the entry list on your screen. It includes Brendan Queen, Ronnie Bassett Jr., Deke McCaskill, Andrew Grady, Brandon Pierce, Bobby McCarty, Carson Quaffle, Buddy Isles Jr., Mason Diaz, Ryan Millington, Logan Clark, Chad McCumbee, Connor Hall, Cade Brown, Cody Dempster, Brent Cruz, Landon Huffman, Bryce Applegate, Isabella Robusto, Landon Lewis, Katie Hettinger, Minnie Tyrell, and Josh Kosek. Hopefully I said his name correctly. I think I got everyone else's names right. But that is only 23 cars and drivers, a significant decline from the opening weekend at Southern National Motorsports Park, where they had 34 cars attempt to qualify. 4 cars were unable to make the race because they limited it to 30 cars total. Those 4 cars were Stephen Nasse, Landon Huffman, Jonathan Finley, and Cody Dempster. It looks like there will be no problems for Cody Dempster and Landon Huffman to qualify for this race, given the fact that we only are seeing 23 on the entry list. We did see 32 on the entry list here. This is the entry list for Southern National Motorsports Park, so obviously 2 other drivers did show up that were not on the initial entry list, so it's possible we get a couple more drivers to pull in, but I still think we're probably in the safe zone as to that 30-car cap there at New River. What is interesting is that drivers, specifically Stephen Nasse, who said he was going to be running Cars Tour full-time, is not running Cars Tour full-time now after failing to qualify for the first race. He posted this on Facebook that he would be at Five Flags Speedway this weekend racing as part of the ASA Stars National Tour. That is where they will be racing on Sunday. Practice session is on Saturday. So that is where Stephen Nasse will be. It's unclear where some of these other drivers will be who did have good performances at Southern National Motorsports Park, specifically Chase Burrow. Unclear as to whether or not he will be there or not. Obviously not on the entry list, but he did have a 4th place finish at Southern National Motorsports Park, and really, I think is probably one of the most underrated drivers out there. I really felt like he was in some not good equipment over the past couple of years with the Cars Tour, but when you got to see him, at least when I got to see him at Dominion, he was in his own stuff. He was really, really good, able to compete even with Peyton Sellers, who typically dominates that track as he vies for national titles year after year. Other people that are missing, Trayton Lapsevich is not on the list. Gavin Bichelle, not on the list. It's possible those guys could have other opportunities, just like Stephen Nasse. But I know Bichelle is one of the top talents out there. Trayton Lapsevich, obviously, he won the Pinty Series last year, so he's also another top talent as well. John Goyne, not on the list. That doesn't really surprise me. He is, I think, more of a weekly series competitor. And maybe see him down at South Boston, maybe potentially back at Dominion. I know those were the 2 tracks he has been racing at over the past couple of years. So it's not surprising that he did not return. It's not surprising that Lane Riggs won't be there. I know he's just kind of doing it a part-time role with Kevin Harvick. Obviously, he's full-time in the Truck Series. So it's not surprising that he's not there. Cameron Bolin, surprised. I don't think he was on the list. Let's go back here. I don't see Cameron Bolin on here. That is a surprise. He has been running full-time last year. I think that he was expected to run full-time this year, so we'll see if he shows up on there. He's finished 23rd at Southern National, it looks like there, at least according to these point standings here. And then Trevor Ward, not surprising that Trevor Ward is not there. He is going to be at South Boston Speedway for their opening weekend. For their weekly series racing down there. Lots of competition happening at South Boston. You got Mike Looney, you've got Peyton Sellers, you've got Trevor Ward, you've got Stallings, you've got Landon Pembleton. So it looks like there's going to be some really good competition down there at South Boston. So that might be pulling some of these drivers away as well. But still looks like we're going to have a very stout field. Expected to see some really good racing. I hope Landon Huffman performs a little bit better in qualifying this year. I know he did take the car to RNS, have it kind of figured out. I think his issue, he feels like, was an issue with the shock. He thinks he's got that figured out. So hopefully he gets that car cooking and he gets back to form where he was last year, and he really is starting to challenge for those wins and be a threat every single week. I know I really like when he's up there running up front, and but there's a lot of other guys up there. I mean, Connor Hall is running really well, absolutely dominated the field at Florence this past Saturday. Had a second place, I believe he finished second place finish at Southern National Motorsports Park. So he's looking really stout this year as well. Look to see those other RNS cars perform well too. I mean, I thought Deke McCaskill had a really good run at Southern National Motorsports Park. I expect a lot of that to carry over not only into this week, but also to the rest of those RNS cars. Obviously, Bobby McCarty and Logan Clark there as well. So expecting Brent Cruz, I expect him to continue to improve week over week. I think he really showed his inexperience at Southern National Motorsports Park, but I think he is a really talented driver and could definitely be up there competing for the win. I hope Ronnie Bassett Jr. improves. I think he had a really disappointing run down there at Southern National Motorsports Park. Which I was actually surprised by because he had some really good momentum. I felt like at the end of last year, he was kind of up there challenging for the lead at a number of tracks. So hopefully he recovers and rebounds as well. And then Mini Tyrell, I really liked what I saw out of Mini Tyrell at Southern National Motorsports Park. I thought he was a lot more aggressive than what he usually is. He was getting up on the wheel, and I think he's got a fast car. I think he's got good equipment. I think he is a really solid driver, and I love to see him continue to be aggressive, use that bumper, and really make things happen. I'm really excited to see what he's got to do. And then Isabella Robusto arrives for her first week in the car store. I know I think she was out in the truck series for Southern National Motorsports. I mean, I don't know if maybe it was Xfinity. I think she was racing in the Xfinity. She was doing something. Maybe it was ARCA. But she will be making her debut in the Cars Tour Late Model Stock Division this race. We'll see what she brings to the table. She is an extremely aggressive driver. We saw that if you watched the World Series of Asphalt. Saw that you're watching that. And then if you've watched the Cars Tour Pro Late Model Series, especially early in the year, you saw how aggressive she can be. So I think that she is one to watch as well and can be very competitive and really mix things up. And we also want to keep an eye out on that number 14 car of Mason Diaz, see what he's got happening. That's obviously he's filling in for Jared Fryer. Again, Fryer was involved in an accident and had surgery on his leg that he is recovering from. So we'll see how Mason Diaz does in that car. He struggled a little bit at Southern National Motorsports Park. So, and then Chad McCumbee had an absolute heartbreak. I think he had one of the better cars at Southern National Motorsports Park. Probably could have potentially competed with Connor Hall and Carson Quaffle for the win there. Obviously had a brake issue. Hopefully they get all that mechanical issues worked out and we really get to see him bring it, because I thought he had a really, really solid car and was a threat to win if he didn't have that brake issue. And then obviously Carson Quaffle, your two-time defending champion, he will always be a threat. Obviously, we'll have an eye on him. And then Brendan Queen, your runner-up from last year. I think he had an actual pretty poor performance at Southern National Motorsports Park, just didn't have the grip that he needed to get around there. So look for that Lee Pulliam performance car to have some huge improvements moving into the race here at New River All American Speedway. But that is kind of my opening discussion here about the New River All American Speedway race for the Cars Tour. I'm really looking forward to it. Cannot wait to watch. Should be an exciting race. Let me know who you guys will be pulling for. Who do you expect to win? Let me know in the comments below.